What's up, guys? It's the Trucking Guy coming at you. So there's a few things that you need to know when starting a business, right? And I thought, what better way than to ask these questions to Google, see what it comes up with, see what the answers are, and see if it can help you guys, okay? There's a few things that you can Google that'll help you get started on the right foot. And then you can also go to mentors, coaches, and consultants and YouTube to see if there's anything else you can add to it into the recipe to make it a little bit better, to see if you can start your business off on the right foot. Let's get to it. So here we are, guys. We're going to go ahead and just start with a question in Google. What is the cheapest state for commercial motor vehicle insurance? If you go right here, it says that the cheapest state for commercial motor vehicle insurance is Mississippi. In some instances, Mississippi rates are 4 times less than other states. For example, an estimate cost of insurance in Mississippi is $4,664, while in Georgia it would cost $20,000. So that's a good little tip. But right here where it says people also asked for. So this would basically be anything that's trending or popular topics in which people asked before they started a trucking company, questions that they might ask or things that they're having issues with, okay? So what state have the best rates for truck insurance? Again, here, this will give you the states. So when filing your LLC or starting a company, you want to consider these things, because if you Google what are the biggest obstacles in the trucking industry, insurance is number one, okay? So it gives you kind of a list right here. You can go to this outfit, okay? It says the list right here. Again, I think that if you look at all of these, it comes up as Mississippi being the lowest at 4,000 right there in the middle, and 64, okay? Again, this right here, it says with US DOT filing, without. So you want to look at the with US DOT filing. That's data that you can find on your own, okay? What kind of insurance do truck drivers need? Okay, primary liability truck insurance is often required as part of a trucking license. It protects people against property from damage caused by your truck. If you are a driver and you want to have your own authority, then you will need a primary liability insurance. Okay. What is trucking insurance, or why is trucking insurance so expensive? Pickup trucks are often more expensive than cars. Therefore, a truck has to be replaced due to involvement in accidents. The insurance companies often have to pay out more. Okay, that would apply to like a landscaping carrier or something like that. But how much does motor carrier insurance cost? Okay, this is an average in the United States, guys. So a motor carrier, one of your biggest expenses is truck insurance. The average cost of insurance for new authorities is $12,000 a year, and that's just a bare bones $1 million liability policy with 100,000 cargo. So in one of my other videos, I talked about the minimum that you can get to actually have an authority is 750,000 liability and 50,000 cargo. But again, you can't haul for anybody because 99.9% of your brokers, agents, customers, shippers, freight forwarders are going to require $1 million in liability and 100,000 cargo in order to carry their freight. So that's basically what it's saying, guys, is that on average, $12,000 a year is what most companies are going to pay for new authorities, okay? That doesn't include your physical damage on your truck or any bobtail policy. So if your truck is financed, the finance company is going to want it, have full coverage on it. So obviously that's going to be more. So if you would just assume that insurance on your truck is probably going to be around $6,000 to $5,000 a year, you would add that to your $12,000 a year just to run your business, right? So I would assume if you had a brand new truck that it's going to be closer to 15. That's just for the cargo and liability portion of the coverage. They're saying it's on average of $12,000 a year. Okay. What states pay truck drivers the most is another question. Mississippi, on average, the state with the highest paying truck jobs is Mississippi, with an average of $68,000 per year. A lot of heavy hauling and long haul positions are available, which require additional skills and experience. The next state on the list is Wyoming at $61,000. What state has the most freight? Let's see here. It says Texas, California, Illinois, and Ohio. They're ranked by loads, okay? And this was pulled October 30th of 2019. This is October 2020, so this is a year-old data. How much is insurance on a new truck? Not really necessary, but let's go ahead and click on it. On average, in 2019, it was $1,662 compared to the average for cars at $2,000. And that is probably annualized. Yep. Why do truckers need general liability insurance is another common question asked to Google. A growing number of risk managers require for-hire trucking companies to have trucking general liability insurance. It pays for injuries or property damage you cause as a result of business activities, not directly related to operating your truck. So this would be an example as it's not something that you hit with your truck, guys, but your general liability policy would cover something like you are walking into the shipper and just hypothetically dumb thing, you fall through the door and it's glass and you break it, or you put your hand up on something and knock it down, or you accidentally lean on a button that closes a door on a truck and smashes it. That is what your general liability insurance would cover, guys. We have general liability here just because some of our customers require it. Some brokers require it, but it's a very small portion of the market, so you don't need it starting off. I would recommend you get it because it's just another bonus, and it's really not that expensive. And so if you find a really good paying load on the load board, for instance, or you find a customer that's willing to give you some dedicated stuff and they want general liability, you'll already have it and you won't have to go through the process to get it. But if you don't have it and you do need it, you can always call your insurance agent, and it's a quick thing to add. Does CDL affect insurance? It won't affect your insurance rate on your personal vehicle. However, if you have a CDL and you fall under federal regulations, even if you get stopped in your personal car and have one beer, you probably will get a DUI because the BAC you are allowed is much lower than that of a regular license. So that means that, guys, if you have a CDL and you get a DUI, they're actually going to go against your CDL required get a DUI, then it's going to go against your CDL limits instead of your civilian limits, because a CDL limit is much less than what you could pass for. I think it's like 0.08 for a civilian, and for somebody with a CDL, I think it's like 0.04 or something like that. But that's just one answer. What are the cheapest trucks to insure? That wouldn't really apply to us. But it says that on the list, the 10 most affordable trucks. So the Ram 3500, it's on the list, I guess. The Ford 3500 is not on here. The GMC 3500 is. So, guys, that's something to look at. Can a trucking company be self-insured? Yes, it can. To save money, trucking companies are permitted by FMCA to self-insure the business. Instead of buying a policy from an insurance agency, the trucking company can pay for its own general liability insurance. Now, what that means, I checked into self-insurance a long time ago, just because I was curious about, what avenues to go down to try to benefit from the best cost of insurance. And to self-insure, it's based on your net worth, guys. So there's a few things that go into that. Most of the time, 3 or 4 or 5 companies will get together. They'll partner, or 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. They'll put you in a pool of people. And I think my guy was telling me that your net worth had to be like $1.4 or $2 million before you could self-insure or something like that. If anybody else knows of any more information on that, reach out to me, because I'm interested in that as well. But I believe it said that a couple, 3 or 4 guys would get together that own companies. Maybe they have 50 truck fleets each, and they're, they have net worths of more than the average person, and they get together and they self-insure. Landstar, some of these conglomerates are self-insured. Landstar, some of the bigger ones, I think, the JB Hunts of the world and stuff, I believe they're self-insured. So you can see they don't have to go through the hoops. They don't have to pay the high-cost insurances that we do, things like that. So it's much more beneficial. They save a lot more money. What insurance do owner-operators need, to lease onto a motor carrier? It's common for a motor carrier to provide primary liability coverage while you're working for them under permanent lease. The typical coverage, injuries or damage to other people or property if you found responsible for an accident. Here's a quick question. Is the MC number the same as a DOT number? A U.S. DOT number identifies carriers operating interstate commerce, while an MC number identifies a carrier who transport regulated commodities for hire in interstate commerce. Generally, items that have been changed from their natural state are regulated commodities requiring an MC number. This is a good one, guys, because I know a lot of you that, especially in Hotshot realm, that are trying to do non-CDL Hotshot. In my state, I believe it's Florida, and it is. What is the easiest state to get a CDL in? Florida is probably the easiest. This was published June 21, 2015 by the Truckers Report. How much do beginner truckers make? Starting $16.50 an hour. An average, this is not salaries, that's hourly, so that wouldn't apply to us. Let's see, what state is the hardest to get a CDL test in? I actually had a guy call me from Washington that was trying to get his CDL and wanted some info on it. And man, they have to go through a ton of hoops to get their CDL in Washington. It's really tough from what I've heard. It's not as easy as, going down, taking your permit really quick, doing it on your own, renting a truck and moving forward that way. So how can I get high paying freight loads? Here are several steps to increase your chances of getting loads and working with shippers or brokers that pay well on time. Knowing your financials, develop a criteria, pick your lanes, start networking, work the phones, check credit scores, and take a strategic approach to the load board. Strategic approach, guys, that's a key word I think you should look at. Instead of just, chasing freight or picking whatever pays the best, take away a strategic approach to look at how you do it, how you book, the commodities that you carry. Try to get into something specialized. Try to bring some sort of advantage to your business that somebody else isn't doing, right? What is the best state to be a truck driver in? Here are the best states for truck drivers in 2020. Pennsylvania, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, Illinois, Rhode Island, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. Let's see. What is the difference between general liability and auto liability? No, that really wouldn't work for us. What is non-trucking liability? It's insurance coverage when you use your truck for non-business purposes. Okay, guys, this would be any personal use or between dispatch points to be covered under non-trucking liability. It means that your insurance coverage would cover you when you're not under dispatch or not covered by the liability under your company. So if you're not working, there's a chance that they could not pay a claim if you hit somebody, guys. That's the thing, okay? Will one speeding ticket affect my CDL? Great question. Let's see what Google has to say. When a CDL holder gets a speeding ticket in a personal vehicle, at least when it comes to speeding, commercial drivers are subject to a CDL rules when driving a personal vehicle. So speeding violations that don't occur in a commercial motor vehicle generally aren't considered serious violations for CDL purposes. As far as against your CDL, yes, but in a personal vehicle, you can still get a citation or a ticket if you don't get a lawyer and get it dismissed or go through the court proceedings and have it taken under advisement for 6 months. If you don't get a similar citation, it'll fall off your record. Then yes, it will affect you on insurance. So guys, if you get a speeding ticket, hire an attorney. Get it dropped, get it taken off of, or get it put under what they basically say is we'll monitor this, and as long as you don't get any similar infractions within 6 months or 1 year, then this one will fall off your record and it won't take 3 years. So you're able to get the best possible rates on insurance that you can. Speeding tickets don't help you on insurance, guys. Who has the best commercial truck insurance? Top 10 trucking company carrier insurance companies. Berkshire, I was with them, wasn't impressed. Auto Owners, Progressive, Travelers, Seneca, Great Lakes, Allied World, and Alliance. Guys, if you're going through a broker or a sales rep for insurance and you have somebody that's going to shop these carriers, tell them these are the markets that you want to look at. They might not be set up with some markets in certain areas or have licenses in certain areas, so you might want to change your carrier and go to a different broker that can help you get a different rate or do something different. What can make you lose your CDL? Okay, driving a CMV if your blood alcohol concentration is high, so that's obviously a DUI. If you're under the influence of alcohol, refusing to undergo a blood alcohol test will relinquish your CDL if you guys didn't know that. So saying no, that you don't want to take one when you get pulled over, will cause you to lose your CDL. Driving a commercial motor vehicle while under the influence of controlled substance will cause it, okay? Let's see. Is Swift Transportation self-insured? There's a little cool question. Announced that it entered into an agreement with insurance carriers to provide transport liability insurance with an aggressive limit of $200 million for 05. The new policy increases the self-insured portion of $10 million per incident. Wow. That means that instead of having $1 million liability, so if they kill somebody, they've actually got a $10 million per incident. That's pretty cool. Is it better to be an owner-operator? Owner-operators generally earn higher per mile rates than company drivers, or a percent of the load rate. Although they make more income per load, they also must pay all the expenses of operating the truck in the business. With hard work and discipline, you may earn more money as an owner-operator than a company driver, guys. Let's see. How much does it cost to insure an 18-wheeler on average? The average for-hire owner-operator should expect to pay between $8,000 and $12,000 a year for 18-wheeler truck insurance. So not a big difference, guys, over a Hotshot truck. It's really not that big a difference. We saw that, you know, it'd be about the same. So insurance be less, since you probably need bobtail, liability, and physical damage. Who needs an MC number? In general liability, companies that do the following are required to have Interstate Operating Authority MC number, in addition to a DOT number operating for hire carrier for a fee or other compensation, transporting passengers or arranging for their transport in interstate commerce. How much does an MC cost? If you're applying for a permanent authority, the fee is $300. For filing a notice of name change, the fee is $14 US. If you're applying for a reinstatement of your authority, the fee is $80. So it's around $300, guys. I think you can get it done between $300 and $500, even if you pay somebody to do it there, okay? Do I need a DOT number to cross state lines? Here's why. Regardless of their application, if your CMVs are used in interstate commerce as defined under Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, FMCSA. I did a video on FMCSA and what they are, guys. If you don't know what it is, you can go find that video on YouTube there. They must display U.S. DOT numbers. Remember, if it crosses state lines for any reason, even if it rarely does, it must display a U.S. DOT number, okay? Do truck drivers make $100K a year? Although you might not be able to make $100K off the bat, but given the truck driver demand with the experience, specialization, again, going into specialized stuff, guys, that's key. CDL training with the right company, you can make 80 plus on a trucker's salary. That was June 2020. Is getting a CDL worth it? Investing either your time to attend a paid CDL training job or money to attend a private trucking school is certainly worth the investment. Attending a well-chosen truck driving school can pay off many times over. Truck driving can be a dream career. Is your suitor to do it? Let's see here. What type of freight pays the most? That's a good one right there, guys. What are the most profitable trucking jobs in 2020? Ice road trucking. Ice road truckers can earn between $30,000 and $40,000 in just 3 months, making them some of the highest paid drivers there are. Hazmat hauling, tanker hauling, oversized load hauling. We do a lot of oversized over here, guys, if you're interested. Luxury car hauling. Those guys make really good money. Very niche market, probably very hard to get into, but I see a lot of guys on Instagram doing it, so it must be possible. You probably got to go bang some doors and create your own clients. That stuff's not going to be on load boards, guys. Owner-operator jobs and private fleets, okay, are the most profitable. What type of trucking pays the most? Here again, same thing. Household goods is not at the top of the list. It's ice road, heavy haul, oversized, and hazmat and tanker. All specialized equipment, guys. How do you get freight loads? Okay, here are 7 ways to find more loads. Owner-operators or fleets looking for freight brokers. Dispatch services. Best load boards for owner-operators. Registering as a government contractor, or how to get freight contracts for owner-operators. Networking and brokering your own loads. Here's a good one. What is the difference between bobtail and non-trucking? Unlike bobtail insurance that only covers you if you do not have a load attached, non-trucking liability protects the owner-operator from liability claims when the truck is not being used for business purposes, whether or not the trailer is in tow. Is bobtail insurance required? Most carriers only require a non-trucking liability policy. Bobtail and NTL do not cover damage to your truck. That is covered under your physical damage policy and is normally offered by at time of sale. This coverage is normally required by your financier. So that means that if you have your truck financed, they require physical damage, or what you guys might refer to as full coverage, to make sure that if your truck is damaged or wrecked or totaled, that it's going to be taken care of. Okay, Bobtail and NTL do not cover that. They are forms of liability that cover you when not towing a trailer, when not at work, when not in tow. Okay. What happens if you get pulled over without a CDL? Okay. Convictions: driving without a CDL or suspended driver's license can incur a penalty of $2,500, or in an aggravated case, criminal penalties of up to US $5,000 of fines and up to 90 days in prison. Guys, I actually had one of my guys get a non-CDL ticket when I first started. He was over the weight limit by 1,000 pounds or so, and he got a $2,500 ticket for not having a CDL, and the equipment was shut down, and we had to pay somebody to come get it that had a CDL and take it to where it needed to go. So make sure, you guys that are doing this non-CDL hotshot, that you really have your stuff together. You know, you have to be under 26.1 combined vehicle GVWR, gross vehicle weight rating. Okay, that's actually a really good thing that I'm going to Google here in a second. And or pull a trailer that is less than 10,000 pounds. Okay, guys? All of these guys out here that are pulling these 40-footers or saying I'm going to derate the trailer, that is illegal. Okay? Let's go to right here. How many points until you lose your CDL? Okay? 12 points in 12 months, 18 points in 24 months, or 24 points in 36 months. What are the top 3 insurance companies? State Farm, Berkshire Hathaway, and Liberty Mutual. Okay. All right, guys. Here it is. Okay. Everybody's out here trying to talk about pulling under CDL hotshot or pulling a 40-foot trailer, or it's derated or whatever. Okay. Let's ask Google what it has to say. What is the requirement for a Class A CDL? A Class A CDL commercial driver's license is required to operate any combination of vehicles with a gross combination weight rating, okay, GVWR of 26,001 or more pounds, provided the towed vehicle is heavier than 10,000 pounds, okay? So if you have a F-350 or a Ram 3500 and that GVWR, gross vehicle weight rating, not what it actually weighs, but what it is able to do, okay, or able to carry, is 15,000 usually, and you have a trailer that is more than 10,000 pounds or more rated, which all of your 25-footers, tandem axle goosenecks, all of your goosenecks, all of your 40-footers, all of your 30-footers are more than GVW of 10,000 pounds. They will place you out of service, okay? Does that mean it'll happen every single time? No, there is a ton of guys on YouTube doing non-CDL hotshot running all over, okay? They have not run long enough and went through the right state, the right scale, or caught the right DOT officer at the right time. Most of the time, they will look at what you actually weigh and let you go and say, if you're under 26,000 pounds, see you later, okay? But in my case, I had a driver that we were trying to do non-CDL. This is the reason why we don't do it anymore. Okay, the DOT officer knew what they were doing. They looked at the weight rating on the truck and the weight rating on the trailer. The trailer was rated for 14,000 pounds. It was a 25-foot gooseneck. Okay, it was a single tire tandem axle trailer, not tandem wheel. Okay, did not have duals. It had a single wheel on each axle, okay? And it was 10-ply tires on 7,500K axles, okay? There was 2 of them. That's a 14,000 pound or 14.5 or whatever trailer is what it's rated for. And that person got placed out with basically not having a CDL. And the weight of the combined equipment with the load was probably 22,000 pounds, okay? So this is what Google says. This is something that you can Google right here yourself and find out what it needs, okay? It says right here, guys, and I'll reiterate it again, okay? What is a Class A CDL? Class A commercial driver's license is required to operate any combination of vehicles with a gross combination rate of 26,000 or more pounds, provided the towed vehicle is heavier than 10,000 pounds, okay? So if it's less than 10,000, don't need it. More than 10,000, need it, guys. Who needs a Class A CDL? Is required by any combination, again, being towed in a weight, right here, this one, because some guys will say, well, it says if it's heavier, that's what it weighs, right? Right here, again, it says it's required for any combination of vehicle with a gross vehicle weight rating of 26,001 pounds or more, provided the gross vehicle weight rating, the GVWR of the vehicle being towed, is over 10,000 pounds. They're going to bust you if you have a sticker on your trailer that says more than 10,000 pounds. So how do you get a 10,000 pound trailer? Derating it is not the way to go, guys. You're going to get busted because they're going to look at the tags on the axles underneath, and it's going to be Dexter axles that say 7,500 pounds, and you're going to get busted if you get a different plaque on the trailer. You have to have a bumper pull 10,000 pound trailer, guys, in order to do it. Now that trailer is going to be maybe 20 foot long, like a little single car hauler is the only way you can get around it. A gooseneck, the smallest goosenecks that I've seen and that I've encountered are 14,000 pound GVW, okay, which is over right there as you see it, 10,000. So you would need a CDL to pull that equipment, guys. Now again, you can pull it for 8 years, you can pull it for 4 years, you can pull it for 3 years until you catch that one person who gives you a ticket, places you out of service, and that's on your safety score. That's on your company's safety score if you have your own authority, and so on and so forth, guys. So that's right there from Google. We're doing Ask Google. There you go, okay? Do I need a CDL if my trailer is over 10,000 pounds? With regard to familiar combination of towed vehicle, weather truck, automobile, or tractor towing a trailer, the driver needs a CDL if the towed vehicle manufacturer is assigned exceeds 26,000 pound and the trailer's GVWR exceeds 10,000 pounds. In either case, either one, guys. So if the single vehicle is over 26 or the combo is over 26 or the trailer is over 10, then you will need a Class A CDL. Okay. All right, guys, here was the question. What is the average profit margin for a trucking company in the United States? Okay, it says privately held general freight trucking companies watched their sales expand in 17 on average of 14.9%, while profit margins expanded to 6% compared to the past average of between 2.4 and 4% over the last 6 years. Now, a lot of you guys think that being a fleet owner and having tons of trucks is going to be the way for you to become a millionaire, okay? To do the math, guys, if you made and you pushed it to a 10% profit margin, you would have to make $10 million to make $1 million a year. So you would have to have a trucking company doing revenue of $10 million a year to make $1 million a year, and that's before tax. If you actually wanted to net $1 million profit a year, and on that, that's about a 60 truck company. You'd have to have 60 trucks roughly, because you're going to have guys that are off weekends or off weeks or have things come up or their truck breaks down, so you have to allocate for that, guys. So 60 to 70 trucks would net you around $10 million a year. If you could get your profit margin to 10% on that fleet, then you could net around $1 million a year. Now, again, the national average, now this was published, I believe, in 17. So in 17, 6% was the average, okay? Now, does this apply to the conglomerates? No, but I think that 90% of owner-operators are 1 to 6 truck companies, okay? So they saw 6%. So as you grow to these conglomerates have probably 30, even 40% margins because they're self-insured, they have in-house brokerage firms, they have 10 other ways to make a profit other than just relying on the freight. They do lease purchase deals to the trucks, so they're making money on the trucks. They lease the trailers, they make money on the trailers. They have other programs that they make profit in other areas. So that's how they're able to expand with bigger profit margins. A small 1 to 6 truck company is going to be at the 6% average range, okay? But the average was between 2.4 and 4% over the last 6 years, guys. So here's another question. How profitable is a trucking company? Drivers may earn 30.3% per trucking mile, or the average is about $32,000 a year. That's an average. It's not very good, guys. So hopefully you're getting paid better than if you're a company driver. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median annual wage for all occupation as per May 2017 is $37,000. A clear profit exists for vehicle moving companies is about 4.8% is gained per operating dollar spent. Are small trucking companies profitable? Okay. Companies that operate their trucks for many miles without a load will lose money. Okay. Which means that there will face drop of the profit and increments of their expenses. Every company has different profit, but on average, base numbers are between 6 and 8%. Okay, so if you sit down and look at your numbers, guys, and your profit on your fleet after dispatch, after maintenance, after recruiting and onboarding, after the cost of ELDs, after the cost of insurance, after the cost of, basically everything, fixed and variable cost, your profit margin should be 6 and 8% of revenue. Okay, so whatever your revenue is, multiply it by 6% and see if that's what your profit is. If it's not, you're not even in the average. If it's less than that, you're not doing well. If it's more than that, you're doing great. But that's an easy thing to Google to find out, guys. Let's see. What is the most profitable type of trucking? Okay, liquid hauling, oversized loads, ice road trucking, specialty car haulers, dump truck, mining industry, team driving, and owner-operator truck driver. Okay, nowhere in there do you see drive-in. Nowhere in there do you see some of this other stuff. Okay, so it's oversized loads, and that's why we do a lot of them here. Okay. All right, guys. Here's another thing that we got. How big is the average fleet in the United States? Okay. All right, guys, here's some quick facts. And what I Googled basically is, how big is the average OTR fleet in the United States? Okay, trucking facts via OIDA. Let's look at this article. All right, industry owner facts. Okay, there are currently 3.9 million commercial driver's license holders actively driving commerce with the United States. These men and women represent the driving force behind the U.S. economy, delivering 70% of all freight worth $11.7 trillion while collecting $726.4 billion in gross revenue. All right, so it says FTL private fleets 250 billion, carrier and parcel 60 billion, LTLs 40 billion. Okay, FTL for hire fleets 350 billion. Okay, let's see. In 2015, trucking carried approximately 10.9 billion of freight worth. Okay, and 33.8 million trucks across all classes. Okay, owner-operators primarily operated Class 8 trucks, 33,000.1 pounds or greater. There were approximately 3.63 million registered Class 8 trucks in 2016. This is the amount of Freightliners, Peterbilts, Kenworths, International, Volvo, Mack, and Western Star. Now, does Freightliner have the majority of the market? Why is that? Is it easier to access parts, less breakdowns, easier cost of entry? What is it about the Freightliners, guys? Easier lease? What is the deal? Okay, fleet size. By power units. Let's look at this, guys. Very small, 1 to 6. Small, 7 to 19. A medium fleet is 20 to 100, so I'm going to consider it a medium fleet. Large is 101 to 2,000. Very large is 2,001 to 5,000. A mega is 5,000 plus. So the megas are a very small percent of the market. Number of carriers, okay, 450,000. So the very small fleet makes up the majority of the carriers. So that means that 450,000, which I would say is 80%, is 1 to 6 trucks, guys. 1 to 6 trucks. A small fleet is 7 to 19, is 53,000, okay? So I'm in a very small bracket between 20 to 100 at 23,000 listed carriers. There's only 23,000 competitors in the United States, guys, with me. Okay, if you have a 1 truck operation, you're in the 450,000 competitors. You have a much bigger competition base than a 20 truck fleet does. The medium status is a while, man. You're not out of the medium until you hit large to 101,000 or 101 trucks, and we're only planning to grow to 40 or 50 next year. So we're going to be in medium for a long time, guys. Total number of power units. Power units total. 10% of them have, in the 1 to 6, they have that 10%. So that must mean they have owner operators. Let's see here. 7% of the small fleet is power units, and 20 to 100, 11% is power units that they own. The rest must be owner operators or leased on trucks, guys. So that's good information to have. Let's look right here at data source FMCSA. Owner operators logged nearly 101,000 miles. In 19,000 miles was deadhead. Now, I don't know how they would measure that. We have a lot of deadhead. How do they measure that? 4% of owner-operators are women. That's a small percentage, guys. Minority owner-operators are around 17%. Man, you guys get those numbers up. I don't know if I believe that statistic either, because I know there's a lot of minorities out there that have trucks, man. Shout out to you if you have a minority trucking business. Most owner-operators become owner-operators at 36 years old. Wow, so I had them beat a long time ago. 63% of owner-operators are away from home 151 nights a year. That's a serious statistic, guys. That means if you plan on having a family, if you have a family now, You got to realize 151 days a year out of 365, you're going to be away from home, not seeing your kids. That's half of a year, guys, that you're not going to see your kids. The average owner-operator has a '06 model year truck. That's weird because most of our trucks are less than 3 years old in our fleet. So I don't know where they're getting that statistic from. A majority of owner-operators own a Peterbilt, followed secondly by Freightliner. Caterpillar are the #1 engines among owner-operators. I think the Cat's probably is the best motor. I'm surprised that a majority of the owner-operators have Peterbilt when it said that the majority of the market was consumed by Freightliner. 2.6 million miles a year during their career. That's a lot of miles, guys. If you average 100,000 a year, it's a lot of miles. 35,000 or 35% of all owner-operators served in the military. Shout out the military, man. That's awesome. 35% they're coming into this. I wonder why that is. Why the military is attracted to this. Maybe it's the run your own show, the stability, the what really draws military in. Let's go see what Google has to say about some other stuff here. All right, guys, so we're going to go to FreightWaves here, and the question that I asked Google was, what is the percentage of trucking companies that go out of business in the first year? And this is according to FreightWaves, in the first half of 2019, 640 freight companies have shut down on average. The companies had around 30 drivers, resulting in over 20,000 trucks being removed from the roads. In all of 2018, 310 trucking companies closed down. Why do trucking companies fail? Great question. Cash flow issues tend to be a combination of several factors, such as not enough customers or business, low-paying freight, high cost of operations, too many unpaid invoices, etc. Identify strategies to improve or manage your business's cash flow or get help from business management services. So that's where a factoring company comes into place, guys, especially one that you can get paid same day or next day. Cash flow is king. I did another video on factoring, how to get paid fast. Follow, like, subscribe, and check that video out on YouTube, guys. All right, so the question was, what is the failure rate of trucking companies? It's around 85 to 90%. Holy crap, guys. That is a lot. The failure rate is somewhere around 85 to 90% of all new trucking companies, unless you are talking about people who lease their trucks from the major carrier they work for, and then their success is all dependent on if they stick it out and have a decent dispatcher. This is Fox Business publication, guys. It says the Celadon Group, the largest provider of international truckload services in North America, became the latest trucking company to shut down operations in 19. So far this year, trucking companies have failed at nearly triple the rate of 18. That means 3 times as many have went out of business, guys, than in 18. Why do you think that is? According to this guy, the principal manager of partner of a data firm, Capital, 795 companies have failed in 19. That means almost 24,000 trucks were removed from the nation's capacity. In 18, 310 companies failed, total removing 2,800 trucks from the road. That, however, was a historic record low rate for the trucking company failures, this guy said. In addition to Celadon Group, other big companies that were under include New England Motor Freight, which employed more than 1,400, and Falcon. Yeah, I've read articles. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen it too, that those guys have failed. Indiana trucking companies filed bankruptcy. Spot pricing has dropped, this guy says, which hurts smaller companies that operate in the spot market instead of the contract market. Spot prices refer to shipping prices as they currently exist at that time. Pricing was so strong in 18 that truckers increased spending on driver pay. So that means that companies paid you guys more if you're drivers. Especially given how low unemployment is, there is no way to cut driver pay. So as rates decline, costs such as driver pay don't, and margins suffer as a result. Trade tariffs, as well as slowdowns in a variety of markets, including housing and auto, contributed to the drop. It was predicted his companies will continue to fail in 2020 because of the weak pricing environment. However, instead of failure rate being abnormally high in 19, he said it was actually abnormally low last year, but added paint for the industry could be coming next year in the form of labor laws designed to protect the contract worker from being misclassified in California, for example. A law will go into effect in January that will make it harder for companies to classify workers as contractors, which the California Trucking Association said it could put 70,000 owner-operators in the state out of work. The group has sued to prevent the law from taking effect. Basically, they're saying they don't want owner-operators, and they want to pay taxes on these people, and it's just too difficult to make that happen, for these large companies, man. They're, trying to basically consume no risk and put you guys out there as owner-operators and push all the stuff onto you so that they can make it successful. Otherwise, if they had to pay taxes on you, we looked it up on 4 to 8% average profit margins, there wouldn't be any money left. It says basically 85 to 90%. That's a high failure rate, guys. But you've seen it right here. We Googled it. You guys can Google it as well. This is a ton of information that you can get for free, guys. So get on it. Guys, so you can see just up the video, if you pay attention to the whole thing, you stayed through it, that a guy that's starting in Mississippi versus you in Georgia, he has a huge advantage. He's going to pay $4,000 to $4,500 a year in insurance for his company, and you're going to pay $20,000 in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know why that is. It's based on different, things that they have in their analytics. So could you afford for a $15,000 difference to move to Mississippi? Do you know anybody in Mississippi to go buy a house over there, rent a place, rent an office, start your company there? How would you start off with your company? As well as, where are you buying trucks? Freightliner controls the majority of the market, it said. So are you going with Freightliners, or are you going with Kenworths that are more expensive to operate, that have a smaller, chokehold on the market? What the failure rate right there at the end, guys, is 80 to 90%. That's crazy. So do you have a business plan? Do you even know how to write a business plan? Are you going to solely focus on the spot market? What size of growth do you depict you're going to grow to? What are your goals? Where do you want to grow to? Do you want to be in the small fleet, the medium-sized fleet, the large fleet? Where do you want to go? What's your ambitions? If the average of the trucking industry is 1 to 6 trucks, it said like 80%. With what was it, 12 or 7%? Power units. That means that they had least guys on. So where are you gonna be? Have you done your research? Have you done the demographics? Have you pulled the information? Where you're gonna insure, where you're gonna start your LLC, where you're gonna start your business from, what kind of equipment you're gonna have, and what you're gonna specialize in. We saw right there that the highest paying markets were specialized, all specialized, oversized, tanker, hazmat. What was it? Sand, fracking sand, different things that were on there. You didn't see dry van on there. You didn't see Hotshot on there. You didn't see any of that kind of stuff. So what are you going to do to be different, to get yourself in the upper echelon of this business, to make it make sense, make it make money, make it prolonged, and it said right there, what were the hardest things to running the business? And it was cash flow, cost of insurance, cost to operate, basically. So if your costs are too high and you can't minimize them, if you guys are starting a business in Atlanta and it's $20,000 a year for one truck to insure, right? And then you have whatever else, cost, you have bad credit, and you have high truck costs, you got a high insurance rate, whatever, then that's where you're going to be at. In my opinion, if you're going to start a company and you want to have all power units and you're not going to do any lease drivers, lease the trucks. Then it's a flat line and you don't have this up and down brake maintenance, especially if you're buying used trucks and they break down, or you have tire problems or whatever. If you lease the trucks, you got a higher note, but you don't have any maintenance. You have controlled costs. You have a fixed cost. It's going to be X amount, right? Try to get that insurance. If that's your biggest stumbling block, and you're going to be in Atlanta with your company, you're going to start your company in Atlanta, you're going to pay more, so those things have a lot to those things have a huge portion of, success to failure. Where are you going to fit? They said 80 to 90% fail. Why do you think the 89% fail? Because they start their business in places like Atlanta. They got high cost to operate. Do you have a factoring company set out? Are you going to go try to make relationships other than just use the spot market? Because I've seen it, guys, in my career. The spot market went like this. Luckily, I had those relationships to get $2 a mile and $1.80 a mile. Because if I was relying on the spot market, man, it would have been hard. And we still had to pull some spot market stuff when it got tough, So coming up with a business plan, where you're going to start, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, what type of equipment you're going to have. Try to get into something specialized. those type of things. If you're getting into it brand new, where are you going to get your CDL? I wouldn't get it in Washington. That's all I'm saying. Even if I lived there, man, I wouldn't get it in Washington. It seems tougher, right? So how do you do that? Obviously, you got to move. I mean, are you willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done? Whether that be move a long way away, to be able to get your CDL, reap the good benefits of cost to operate a business. Find good places to buy equipment or lease equipment, build relationships within the industry. What are you going to do? What kind of things are you going to do to make sure that you have success in this industry with an 80-90% failure rate? What are you going to do differently, guys? That's a huge thing to think about when getting into this industry. Where are you going to go? How are you going to start? What's your business? What kind of equipment you're going to have? And what you're going to do to be successful. So, Trucking Guy signing off. Good luck.